Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. We are on night 7 of Julia. If you're watching on YouTube or on the VODs, I highly recommend going and watching the previous parts and also going on and watching the Coteries of New York playthrough, because that will give a lot more context to what's going on in the rest of the game. But for those of you who don't know me or are just joining for the first time, hello, my name is Skye Blacke. I'm a filmmaker and a writer with a master's degree in film and a Bachelor of Arts in creative writing. And I use those degrees in order to analyze video games from a narrative and cinematic perspective so that we can better appreciate the art that we all love. We're playing the visual novel Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York by Draw Distance, set in the World of Darkness setting of the popular tabletop RPG Vampire the Masquerade. As long and Mage the Ascension and Hunter the Reckoning and that stuff too, and Werewolf the Apocalypse. Oh, you're up early. Yeah, told you. Got work to do. I stretch. That's admirable. Reminds me of that one quote you always used to throw around. A lot of people say you can't smoke dope and get drunk when you got kids, and that's not true. You can, but you still got to get up in the morning. That's being responsible. That's the one. I never understood why it was so hilarious to you. Neither did I. I just accepted the mystery and made it my personal credo. I'm a responsible person. Are you planning to have kids? Not in a million years. By the way, you've got mail. An envelope by the door. It's from Kadir. Inside is a message saying he won't be able to make it tonight, but will rendezvous tomorrow to meet D'Angelo. He wants to me to lay low until then, and to stay in this apartment if possible. Apparently nobody knows where Tamika is. They only know she's in trouble, and he doesn't want me near it. Well, what is it? Kadir's already prepared the next list of chores for me. I swear to God. I thought you were investigating. You know how it is. They never cared how overworked I am. I need to go. It'd be fun to spend some more time together, you know? Dakota, you know this is important to me. I know, but I'd like to know I'm important to you as well. That's not fair. That makes two of us. Just a few more days. I'll find the killer, kick his ass, get a promotion, and we'll do something we've never done before. Like what? Good question. I'll think of something. For now, catch up with your work. I need to get going. Fine. Good luck. Stay safe. You know it. This place is weirdly empty tonight. Oh well. I'll have the usual. I feel there's a big what are we doing in this relationship coming if I don't change my ways. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened already, but most of the time Dakota has seemed happily enough to just listening to the stories of my own life. Even if it is all boring and normal to me, it's exotic and engrossing to her. Guess I have that going for me. Oh well. I have no idea what to do tonight, so I'll just do the obvious things and wing it. These vagabond shoes / are longing to stray right... Oh, she's singing. I'm not singing. Time to lose myself in these busy streets and pray that the answers I'm looking for are out there. And if they're not, maybe I'll at least find some amusement or blood instead. The Prince of Cats. There it is, that distant vibe of distinct vibe of Manhattan's residential area. And an unmistakable scent of casserole enveloping the area in a heavenly aura? The atmosphere of desolation makes it feel more like purgatory, though. There's not a single soul in sight, and... Ugh, crap. Looks like I'm not alone after all. Some guy exerts himself climbing a tree nearby. I instinctively take a step into the shadows to remain outside his line of sight, but I can barely see anything from where I stand. My inner voyeur is squirming for more details. I move a few steps closer, keeping to the shadows. For a good while, all I can hear is heavy panting. Come on, dude, this oak isn't even that tall. Sure looks like for the first time the guy's ever tried to climb a tree. I dated a girl who had never climbed a tree before. We were in our 20s. It was really weird. It takes a long time for the mysterious trespasser to steady his breath and carry on. As soon as he crawls out the tree's crown, the dim street light reveals the face of a young guy in his early 20s. Against the spectacular night sky and with his exaggeratedly tormented romantic gaze, he truly looks like a hero befitting the cover of a Harlequin paperback. He sidesteps up one of the longer branches. It seems certain enough and nearly reaches a narrow window to the second floor. Still, the guy is hesitant. Alright, no biggie, just eyes on the prize. He moves a few steps along the branch, his feet slipping every other step of the way to the window. By some inexplicable fluke, he manages to keep his balance. Once he makes it far enough, the branch slowly bends under his weight. He kneels down, probably calculating his chance to make it over the windowsill. My guy, if you pull this off, it will be a legit miracle. What? Is someone there? Ah, shit. Should have been more careful. The trespasser pivots rapidly, startled by the sound of my voice. Just as he notices me, he loses his footing and dives straight into the front yard of the nearest house. Ah, shit. He drops to the ground with a muffled thump. Luckily for him, the lawn hasn't been trimmed for a while and the tall grass cushions his landing. Somewhat. As soon as he recovers, the guy gets up and starts limping towards the fence. He tries to climb over, but quickly ends up back on the ground, clutching his leg in pain. He turns to me and starts begging under his nose. Hey, you... shit. Please, I'm hurt. Do me a solid and open the gate. Well, with his ankle twisted, he's not going to get out of this mess on his own, and it's not like I'm particularly law-abiding. So why shouldn't I help him? Just stay where you are. Don't move. I don't know how to. And shut the fuck up. Relax. I got this. In 2 swift bouncy steps, I reach the front gate. Obviously, it's locked. But it's not like that's ever stopped me before. Once I'm sure no one can see me, I focus my strength on the gate and pry until the quiet crack announces that the lock has given in. The extraction goes as smoothly as it ever could. I get in quickly, take the guy by his arm and help him slowly limp out to the front yard. Out of the front yard. I let him go a few steps later. He leans against the fence with noticeable relief. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. The hell were you doing up there? Well, this is embarrassing. More than falling on your ass like that? He chuckles lightly and looks up at the window, the same one he was trying to reach moments ago. This is gonna sound pathetic as hell, but my crush lives in this house. Her shithead father kinda hates my guts, so we get together in secret. Because of her fixed nagging, she can't seem to make up her mind about us. She explicitly told me not to swing by her house, but you thought it was a good idea to climb up the walls of her keep like a goddamn Prince Charming and break your neck in her front yard? My remark really gets to him. Yeah, but what can I do? Give up on her when in my heart of hearts I know she loves me just as much as I love her? Aww. It ain't easy being this cheesy. She got you good, huh? That she does. Well. Tough shit, pal. Think fast. I pick up a rock pebble and toss it at the window. And a few seconds later, it opens the creak of a wooden frame, followed by the muffled but undeniably happy voice of the resident. Prince? What are you doing down here? I told you... babe, I have something important to tell you. Can we talk for a moment? She hesitates for a second, but quickly jumps back into her room. Break a leg, lover boy. Maybe not literally this time. He nods at me with gratitude while frantically dusting his jacket off, readying himself for the surprise rendezvous. I give him a casual salute and leave. As I walk away, I just hear smooching coming from the front yard. It makes me smile, if only a little. My peeping eye scores another victory. What a cute story. Heartwarming. Nostalgic. It's too bad it's too cliche to steal from my writing. What? You don't write anymore. Yeah, but it's not like you can simply stop thinking like a writer. Yeah, gotta use that energy elsewhere somehow. But for now, let's just start heading downtown. All of a sudden, the world ends. Everything stops. I'm lost in the darkness and there's not even a heartbeat to guide me. It's like sleep paralysis, except it feels like if I suddenly woke up from reality instead of a dream. Instinctively, I react the same way I used to react whenever I woke up in the middle of the night, aware but not able to move or speak. I just wait for it to pass. But instead of slowly regaining control, I just see a bizarre room emerge from the darkness. Just look at her, flesh, refusing its fate. It is. It is not the one you were looking for, is it? He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep is silent before the shears, he did not open his mouth. There is none righteous, not even one, not even when there is none righteous, not even when there is none who understands, there is none who seeks for God, all have turned aside, they have become useless. If anyone curses his father or mother, he must be put to death. Raging waves of the sea, foaming up their own shame, wandering stars for whom is reserved the blackest of darkness forever. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Whenever I become one with the darkness, there's always this nagging fear that it might be impossible to become the normal me again. Instead of the shadow returning to normal, I will let my consciousness be dragged somewhere else, somewhere between worlds. Somewhere like this, wherever it is. This is the first time that fear has come true. Are you afraid? It's a bad idea to answer. Don't do it. Yes. Ha ha ha. Excellent. 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 I think I need to sit in this chair. I think I need to sit in this chair. I sit in the chair. Still in the lean years of unworthy of joining the rest, and unworthy of joining the rest. However, the path is open, and it is a path of obligation, liability, a debt that will be repaid one day. And when she asks you what brought you here, let your response be a scent of death. Suddenly, I feel my mind beginning to drift away from here, slowly starting to regain control over my thoughts. No, you aren't. Yes, I am. Fine. Think whatever you want. I find myself in a dark corner, leaning against a wet, cold brick wall. I think I'm conscious again, back from wherever it was, awake, but in an unfamiliar place. Well, let's just hope it's still New York. I emerge from the shadows to see where I am. A source of light above my head momentarily blinds me, causing me to instinctively raise my hand. As I do, I hit some sort of garbage bag with my hand. It falls to the floor, letting loose a metallic din. What the fuck? A woman. I feel her hand grabbing my clothes. She brutally drags me closer. With one of my hands above my head, I raise the other. Easy. Peace. I mean you no harm. How long have you been here? I don't know. I've got no idea what I'm doing here. Or in general. Really, it's like something the forces I cannot figure out how to control me. It's like sometimes the forces I cannot figure out how... It's like sometimes the forces I control figure out how to control me. What are you, a junkie? No. You're kindred. Yeah. Keep your shit together, damn it. I'm Julia Savonsky, the representative of the La Sombra in New York. Camarilla? Uh-huh, I'm a Camarillo investigator. Well, if you came here to catch me, you're going to be sorry you tried, Miss La Sombra. No, stop right here. I wasn't ordered to catch anyone, I'm just investigating Douglas Callahan's death. This surprises her. She loosens her grip slightly. Callahan's dead? Nothing left but a rotten carcass and a musty robe. Well, I'll be damned. I've been off the grid too long. What brought you here? A memory from a different world popped up in my head. Yeah, I think I know the right answer. A scent of death. She lets me go. I rub my eyes and finally get a good look at her face. Hey, Tamika. She's gorgeous, and judging by her nomadic clothes and a particularly fierce aura, she's probably an outlander. The gangrel. We'll have a talk, you and I. Sure. What's your name? Tamaka. Pass me a smoke, will you? If only it could. My heart would skip a beat right now. Tamaka? I guess once again someone out there's led me the proper path. Yeah, sure. When I pass her a cigarette, I realize I'm standing in something wet. Something that smells tasty. I look at my feet and see a puddle of water mixed with blood. Oh, I get it. Were these guys First Light? The high-powered guns and expensive-looking outfits, flashbang, tasers, all chosen specifically to combat the undead. I recognize the equipment from some horror stories I've heard. First Light, SI, USSOCOM, whatever they call themselves, they all bleed out the same, usually before I have a chance to ask them a single question. Government-funded inquisitors. Some claim they're connected to the US government, some claim they're supported by an anti-kindred faction in the Holy See. Some have even wilder theories. You did this all by yourself? Have you seriously seen nothing? Nothing at all? I shake my head. Believe it or not, I have no idea how I got here. I just kind of let the shadows guide me. Is that a somber thing? I've never actually talked to any of you. No idea what you guys can actually do. Still learning the ropes myself. Go with the flow and all that. My embrace was just a few months ago. Huh, so you folks at the Ivory Tower... So you folks are with the Ivory Tower now. Last I checked, you were with the Sabbat. The Camis wouldn't forgive all the trouble you've caused them overnight. Again, I'm practically still a neonate. I just know there's a lot of bad blood between my clan and others, and that I can expect at least one glare of pure contempt whenever I visit Elysium. I see. We smoke in silence for a short while. So, did you kill them all alone? I love this imagery of them reflected in the water. Even though shouldn't Julia not be reflected in the water? Now that I think about it. Isn't that a plot hole? Yeah, I've been hunting these guys for the past few months. Aren't they extremely dangerous? Almost got me for good last year. Took me a few weeks to get back in action. Why are you doing this? Those motherfuckers have an unfortunate tendency to hurt people I care about. My brothers, my sisters. I see. Don't know how it is in other cities, but here, funnily enough, they only seem to target marginalized and radicalized kindred, ones that could theoretically pose a threat to the current order. Meanwhile, the establishment in New York hasn't really changed ever since Celebros stepped down. Quite the opposite. Every SI raid in the city has only strengthened the old paradigm. Almost makes you think that their goal is something other than protecting the citizens from the blank body menace. Tamaka throws her cigarette into the puddle unfinished and crushes it under her heel. She obviously has difficulty smoking, it's like she only ever tried it a few times. I assume she saw me carrying a pack and decided to try it to calm her nerves after the battle. Or maybe she just wanted an excuse to make our conversation less awkward. Who knows? So you planning to snitch on me, Shadow Girl? Why would I do that? Let me get this straight. You really think I'm dumb enough to believe, for 1 second, that a Camarillo investigator would just happen to stumble upon the alley where I killed a bunch of SI motherfuckers? If so, you're the one who's dumb, sister. I don't care if you think I'm dumb. I don't care about SI. I don't care if you believe it was a happy accident I met you, especially considering not even the sheriff knows where you are. But I care about solving the mystery of Callahan's death, and as it happens, you're one of the pieces of the puzzle. What? What are you talking about? I found this on his body. Well, what remains of it. I show her the note. She tries to grab it to read it, but I don't let her. Aside from your name, we've got Hope, Agathon, and D'Angelo. You know them? Passingly. Any idea why Callahan would need a list of all your names? I might know why, yeah. Do you? Absolutely. Do you know a man going by the name of Torque? Huh. Of course I do. Do you know about his connection to Boss Callahan and by proxy to this list and to me? No, I'm all ears. Well, too bad, because it's classified intel, sister. What do you mean by classified? Not free. Oh, great. As if I were in position to or could afford any sort of quid pro quo. But fine, let's hear it. What do you want? She motions towards the bodies. I've killed too many of these assholes. They're tightening the screws. As it is, New York City's no longer safe for someone like me. Well, not that it ever was. Oh man, bracing for something unreasonable. What I need is a way out of the city. You offer me that, I'll give you the intel you need. Huh. Would you look at that? That's something I can handle, actually, yeah. She raises her eyebrows. That's a surprisingly confident answer for a practically still a neonate. I'm something of an immigration officer. Gotta say, you sound awfully close to a cop. Almost as bad. A bureaucrat. I know of a secret pathway that would lead you to the west coast. 100% safe travel, and if you took it, you'd be untraceable. Sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? Wait until you see how much it costs. The only reason I know of this route is because a certain Nosferatu criminal group reached out to me on account of my position and offered me a mutually beneficial deal regarding illegal kindred travel. Normally I'd refuse, but they offered me the only thing they can buy me. A lot of cash. Fine, money's not an issue. Now that's something I never had the chance to say in earnest. Okay then. You should assist me first, then we'll figure out how to transport you out of the city. Hell no. Is this really the extent of your negotiating skills? Why do you think this kind of line would work? Well, I'm an optimist. Trying to be, at least. We do need a way to open this deal that would satisfy both of us. Have you met Torque in the course of your investigation or before? I wanted to, but on the Anarch side I only managed to meet Maya and she wasn't keen on the idea of the two of us meeting. Ah yes, Maya. Her expression betrays she's got some vicious stories to tell, but it would be beneath her to divulge them. Too bad, maybe it could be a bonding experience. So here's the thing, a few months ago Torque and I were together. A lot of things happened and long story short, I no longer feel close to him, but from what I know, he still feels close to me. Back when I thought there might be something between us, I gave him a ring that has a lot of sentimental value to me. And since these days sentimentality is all that keeps me going, I want it back. So my suggestion is, tell Torque's people I sent you to get inside his base of operations, meet up with him, ask your questions, and get my ring back. You get to interrogate him, and I get to have my ring back. Then you hear my side of the story, then I get to leave the city with your help. Everyone wins. More than once. They'll really just let me in because I tell them you sent me? They will. Trust me. This sounds too easy. What caused the two of you to drift apart? Irreconcilable differences in worldview. Well, I assume so, but that's a diplomatic answer. I'm going to involve myself in a relationship drama of two ex-lovers. I need something more to go on. Will you? Yeah. She picks her words carefully. I realised I'd become an element of his carefully crafted projected image. Having me as a radical partner allowed him to present himself as a mediator while paying lip service to revolutionary ideas. A mediator, that's the 21st century for you. Everyone wants to be a middleman these days and no one wants to do what's right. You serious? Whenever I hear about Torque from the Anarchs, they talk about him like he's the second coming of Mao. If you ever seemed that, it's only because from time to time, people like me pushed him into doing an uneasy thing. Ever heard of the Southern Wolf and the Northern Fox? Both of them want to eat you for dinner, but only the Southern Wolf makes it immediately obvious. The tricky Northern Fox makes eyes and allows you to pet him before taking a bite. Torque loves to surround himself with Northern Foxes. They talk of compromise. They seem reasonable compared to the opposition. But at the end of the day, they have the eyes on the same prize. Power. Hearing this gives me a foreboding feeling, but I can't quite nail down why. Alright, tell me where to go and I'll tell you where we'll meet later. I'm just chilling at Torque's when suddenly a shrill, loud voice pierces my eardrums. And what the hell are you doing here? Oh yeah, it's the pissy lady from Torque's Inner Circles. Are you always this pissed off? Only when Ivory Tower bootlickers pop up and ruin my day. If you want me to act happier, make yourself scarce. No can do. Your boss let me in here. The hell he did. Get out. I thought you'd be more open to cooperation after our last talk. Not when you're trying to make deals behind my back, bitch. Mia, it's okay. There he is, walking through the door, one of the most infamous New York City barons, or as some started calling him the moment Callahan met his end, the Baron of New York City. We've talked about this. The situation's a little bit different now. Tamika sent her. What? Bullshit. I wasn't able to track her down for weeks. Well, I did. This is a reason to celebrate, not to get mad. Now, if you allowed the two of us a private conversation. No way, I won't keep an eye on her. You will keep an eye on the exit, and that will be enough. Please. He puts on his best authoritative tone, and it works. No protest this time. Mia leaves the room. When talking to Mia, you mentioned cooperation. First I've heard about it. I tried to make friends with her so that little investigation would go more smoothly. Looks like it wasn't appreciated. I'm sorry about her. She can be overzealous, but usually that's not a bad thing. Yeah, sure. She has told you I've been trying to reach you for a few nights. I don't think so. Have you? Well, I'm the dumbass the court ordered to investigate Callahan's final death, so considering your connection to the case, I thought it'd be prudent for us to talk. Ah, so that's you. Yeah, I know you're probably anxious to hear about Tamika. I'm surprised to hear you two knew each other. We actually met through this investigation. Anyway, as I was saying, I know you probably can't wait to hear about her, but I'd like to ask you a few questions first. I understand. Do your job. Did you know Douglas Callahan? Of course I did. We're both barons. Kept professional obligations to meet each other, but that was it. What was your private opinion of him? Same as everyone else's. A racist clown mentally stuck in the 19th century who spent far too much time keeping the anarchs down. I'm glad he's gone. You mean you're glad he met his final death? Well, you know what they say. Hate to see you go, love to watch you leave. Weren't you the first kindred who saw his corpse? I was, but it was his ghouls who found him, by the way, we've established that some of them tampered with the crime scene. They were properly disciplined for that. Convenient story. Let's move on. What's your alibi for the night? None. I was running around town the entire night, taking care of various issues. Unrelated to Callahan, but I don't intend to divulge them to someone from the Ivory Tower. So you have no interest in proving your innocence. My official position was made clear. It's the Camarilla who are to blame. It's your job to prove me wrong. Kuwamak. At least for once, I can face a problem that can be solved with pure logic, not politics. Any finding on your sides I should know of? Ask Mia. She's the one who handled the murder scene. I'm not privy to all the details. Hope the Angelo Agathon. Any idea who those people are? Can't recall. Sorry. The evidence I've found suggested a potential link between Callahan and Tamika. Any clue? I knew both of them well, but as far as I know, they've never met. That's it. Oh well, not sure what I expected. He's the kind of guy who could only be pushed to talk if I had something concrete to push him with. Time to move on. Well, regarding Tamika, finally. I'll cut straight to the chase. She wanted to inform me she'll be skipping town for a while. The SI's hot on her trail and she needs to lose them. ASAP. Oh, I've told her countless times if she's in danger, I'll always be there for her. Does she think she can find a secure way out of the city in this situation? She's safe. So you say. She's got some other friends in high places. She'll manage to get out. Gotta admit, that's not what I expected to hear. Or what I wanted to hear. Why did she contact me? She wants her ring back. His aura changes in a blink of an eye. Ah, I see now. So that's why she didn't show up herself. Wouldn't even face me when delivering the final insult. Uh-oh! Looks like I stepped on a landmine. She said the ring was a symbol of the trust she put in me. No way in hell I'm giving it away. Not until she gives me a chance to explain myself. I need that ring to get Tamika to talk, but with the way he's acting, it doesn't seem likely he's going to part with it. It might require me to act shitty, but maybe maybe time to change my approach? Listen, this is none of my business, but I think you got something wrong here. How exactly? She still loves you. Oof. He's only doe-eyed for a short moment, but it's obvious I hit him where it hurts. You said you just met her. How would you know? We fought an SI patrol together. That won me a trust, and then we had an unexpectedly honest talk, woman to woman. Glad Mia's away. If she was in the room, I'd be far too embarrassed to let this shit escape my mouth. But talk just nods, prompting me to go on. She's conflicted. She understands the painful realities of this world, but wants to hold on to her ideals. That's why it's hard for her to stay close to you. Even though deep down she resentfully respects your slow and steady work, she still wants to give her own approach a chance. Oh my god, what am I doing? Then why would she want the ring? To me it's an obvious message. I was wrong to put my hope in you. It's punishment. She wants it to remember you by, and to have a symbol of those hopes near her, to remind her there's always another way. Look, I know this is hard for you, but you've got to give her time and the benefit of the doubt. It will pay dividends in the long run. Slowly make her realise her misconceptions might have been wrong. Ah, a realization slowly dawns on him. Oh my god, he's actually buying it. I'm dying inside. He takes the ring out of his inside pocket and passes it to me. Go. Tell her I'll be waiting and that my feelings have not changed. Of course. Should Mia lead you out? No need, I'll manage. As I leave, I feel very self-conscious about the pace of my walk. I feel like I just got away with murder. If he relays what I said to Mia, she'll probably see through my bullshit in an instant, but oh well. Wouldn't be my problem at that point. Time to meet Tamika. I find her already waiting in front of the Jewish Museum. How'd it go? She raises her eyebrows. I put the golden ring into her palm. I'm quite surprised, to be honest. I didn't think you'd succeed. Turns out I'm a talented diplomat. From my experience, that usually means a liar. She looks at the ring with a gentle gaze and stores it safely in her pocket. Or has he really changed? Who knows? I just met him for the first time in my unlife. Anyway, I kept my end of the bargain. Of course, it's time I kept mine. Last year, a certain fledgling, that's us, appeared in the city and attempted to build a coterie. That list you found on Callahan, that's the list they've got. They contacted each of us and found themselves in deep shit. SIs, Kaiser, Sophie Langley, some shadowy player manipulating everything behind the scenes. Then they disappeared. Kaiser? That name popping up once again. Can't be a coincidence. No one knows where or why. Doesn't really matter. That happens when you punch way above your weight. Hope they're doing fine, despite all odds. In any case, Talk got involved too. That's how I met him, actually. He got hurt. Didn't want to say how, claimed it could be put anyone who knew in danger. Whatever happened, it gave him the drive and desire for change. For 2 months he was a beautiful kindred, plain and simple. But suddenly something in him snapped overnight. His tone mellowed out and his actions became timid. His language became more benefiting of a political science student than a charismatic leader. I assumed he'd met someone who made him an offer he couldn't refuse, but I had no idea who that was. And then one night I followed him and saw him scheming at the docks with Callahan. When he came back, we had an argument. When he refused to explain himself, I knew I was on my way out. And that was that. I understand. Wish I'd known that earlier. Might have confronted the facts with him and learned something a bit more. He never told me. Of all kindred? What makes you think he would have told you? She's got a point, I suppose. Alright, thank you. Now it's my turn. Here's your way out. I point at the manhole below our feet. Here's a map of the sewers. Follow the route, then burn it. You'll be looking for one-eyed Nosferatu wearing tactical gear. Tell him I sent you, then give him the agreed upon amount of money. What kind of route will I be taking anyway? An armoured van full of precious coppers. My man knows how to arrange them to allow for unnoticed extra cargo. Her face darkens. The circulatory system? What do you expect? The rich and powerful always get their blood they want, one way or another. At least tonight, one of their routes will be used for something good. She drops her shoulders in resignation and opens the manhole cover. Fine, but remember, if it doesn't work, I'll be back at your doorstep with a vengeance if it's the last thing I do. I'm sure it will work out fine. Just beware of a giant albino ghoul alligator while you're down there. Tamika rolls her eyes. Sewer ghoul alligator? For information, it's just a story New York kindred tell to neonates to mess with them while they're still gullible enough to believe anything they hear about the world. Oh. That makes sense, I suppose. Well, this is a goodbye. If in a few months you hear the first light presence in Los Angeles has been decimated, assume that against all odds, I'm still unalive and kicking. If you keep killing indiscriminately, you might cross a line of no return, you know. Shouldn't you take it easy for a while? Not until my brothers and sisters in blood stop being slaughtered. I care about what's left of my humanity, but turning a blind eye on kindred in need would be even less human. So that's the kind of person she is, and probably will be, until the very end. Must be comforting in a way, to know how your path will end, yet to follow it all the same. I could never do that. Here's some parting advice for you. We might be monsters, but we were lucky enough to be born into a world more monstrous than we are. If we rebel against it, we might still find salvation. If only I could believe it. Didn't expect the preaching tone. Why are you telling me this? Because I think I have a pretty good nose for people's auras, and when I take a good look at you, I smell a penchant for ruthless opportunism. I smell someone who doesn't value the truth much. It's not much, just a hunch. But you seem prone to giving in to the Camilla's empty promise of safety and their petit bourgeoisie values. I think I should take offense to that. I hope you do. That would reflect on you. In any case, whatever happens, see you in the next life, Julia. Safe travels, Tamika. I skipped tonight's visits to the church. I'm not in the mood to see Benoit. I'm still embarrassed about yesterday's outburst. And I'm kind of pissed off none of the clan elders in Chicago bothered to reply to any of my fucking reports. No advice, no feedback, nothing. I feel like I was left utterly alone. Besides, it's late. I always get back to the apartment early in the morning, right before it gets bright. It's getting risky to be out here so close to the sunrise. Accidents can happen. I'll try to get back earlier tomorrow night. Attempt to surprise Dakota. Yeah. I'm back. Yay. How was work? All caught up? I managed to get my deadlines postponed. All of our clients are cancelling and delaying orders left and right. Huh. Does that mean you'll have time to help me with my makeup tomorrow? We'll see. Perfect. Alright, I need to disappear before the sun catches up with me. Hey. Yeah? I love you. Oh. An uneasy silence fills the room. I'm not getting out of this one, am I? Well, I've already come up with one love story tonight. What's another? I love you too. I quickly turn away to avoid looking at her sincere smile and leave to rest. Oh, Julia, you messy bitch. I finally reached BBB, hoping to recuperate from all the mental damage accumulated over the past few days. Only to find that the doors are locked and no one's inside. Oh, no, I need to be soothed. I need my routine. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. Closed? What the fuck do you mean, closed? I mean, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Everything's closed. What pandemic? Do you live under a fucking rock? It's a new SARS virus straight from China. The whole world's going crazy over it. People are dying left and right. Holy shit. I didn't know something like this could still happen in this day and age. Somehow I always felt like we were beyond it. Well, I guess it's lucky I'm dead. I walk away to avoid bringing more attention to myself. Now I understand why New York City feels downright apocalyptic tonight. It's like a psychedelic experience to see these familiar streets empty and abandoned. Well, let's see what parts of the city are still alive in the middle of a plague. If someone asked me right at this moment how to define the meaning of the word eerie, I'd look at them straight in the eye and say, just look around, idiot. But with the exception of a few stray dogs, there's no one to ask. This isn't the New York I've come to know. I can't help but come to perceive it as artificial, real, but with an uncanny apocalyptic quality, like a citywide roleplay of some trashy post-apocalyptic flick. Like I was Will Smith in I Am Legend. Hell, this is probably the first time anyone's thought of I Am Legend in the last 10 years. A film version, anyway. I like I Am Legend! The alternative ending's better. I keep walking the empty streets until suddenly... Hey, Julia! Julia! The streets reveal themselves as less empty than I previously thought. Charlie? Been a long time. Julia, why are you so stupid? Wow, that's not the line I choose to open a touching reunion with. Last time we met, he was working at Karma Circle, one of those vegan places that pride themselves on hiring workers with disabilities. Went there for the first time 2 years ago or so, with Dakota. Charlie here was our waiter. He had us arguing about something stupid and rushed Dakota's defense. In Charlie's mind, the best defense is a merciless offense. He roasted my formal clothes, my silly mannerisms, general behavior, and specific arguments so ruthlessly, Dakota had a 10-minute-long laughing fit. The manager overheard him and apologized. But I didn't mind. I've always liked underdogs who can stand their ground. We even became online friends so we could roast each other on Messenger, and you can still do that using emojis alone. People are getting sick. You're irresponsible. I need to take you home. We're just headed there, Charlie. There's no need to worry about me. But I was worried. You never answer my messages these days. Yeah, that's not an option right now, is it? Especially during the day. If you have to contact me, you need to do it through Dakota. I've decided not to use smartphones anymore. You know, keep my head clear and all. I think you just got tired of breaking them. You always were so clumsy. Your screen was always cracked. You were always thinking a lot with your hand while we're doing something stupid. As I said, ruthless. Is Dakota good? You two still gal pals? We are. Very good gal pals. That's good. You aren't practical. You're a mess, girl. You need someone close to take care of you. Come on, said the guy who still lives with his mum. Yep, we're the same. That's how I know. He says that with such an innocent smile and so much conviction, I feel thoroughly owned. No use fighting back, switching to sincerity mode. I'm not sure if we're making each other happy, and that worries me a lot, you know? It's because you're being stupid. Hey, I'm being honest now, don't be mean. I didn't say you're stupid, but that you're being stupid. There's a difference. Guess that's something your mum says all the time, huh? When you're in your head for too long, you almost trip over a glass of water or break your phone. That's why they call you stupid. When you argue or when you joke, that's good. That's progress. I guess. See? You're not stupid. You get it. Oh yeah, are you still a journalist? Me? Oh no, they fired me. Good. Good? Seriously? Yeah, Mum reads low stuff sometimes. She says it's trash. I'm happy you're not trash. Thank you, that means a lot. And how's Karma Circle? Still working there? No, they fired me. Oh. Good. No, not good. They fired you, that means they're trash, and you deserve better than to work for people who are trash. You're just saying that. He makes a coddish gesture that makes me burst out laughing. And how's your mum? She's sick and doesn't want me to come by her room. She sent me out to the pharmacy to get her medicine, you know? Fuck, I hope it's not serious. It's stupid. We have to take care of each other, but we can't even see each other, you know? Now I feel like trash for wanting to complain about my troubles. You doing good? Yes, I'm strong. He poses like a macho man. I laugh. You stay strong too, Julia, and write something from time to time. No promises. Hey, if I'm forced to be an asshole to Dakota and we stop being gal pals, will you forgive me? Let me think. An exaggerated thinker pose. I swear this, dude. No. Now he turns and disappears into the night. I swear, I don't know how to handle this guy. He always has to have the final word, even against a vampire. It's probably why I still respect him so much. Oh well, time to follow suit and make myself scarce. The time comes for me to meet with Kadir. I am happy to be your company, lovely scientist. And hopefully, D'Angelo, too. The last position on my list. This better be good. And that's D'Angelo's agency. Looks like a dump. Perfect for the clan of the hidden. I thought he wasn't hidden. I thought he was missing. And to be honest, I kind of expected the worst. Why did we look for him in the most obvious place? I've been asking around and I've got a hunch. Just trust it and start looking. Fine. Who is D'Angelo anyway? He's a good man, a useful man, but it took me time to get used to him. He takes sleuthing very, very seriously. His thing is acting like an idiosyncratic noir detective. It helps him cope with something, but I never felt comfortable tackling the subject. Doesn't sound too quirky by this city's standards. Wait, what is that? There's a rat on the floor, frozen in an unnatural position. Weird shit. Despite my disgust, I picked the rodent up. Now that's what being an investigator is all about. Leave no stone unturned. Shut up. This is gross. What have you found out? I take a close, hard look at the rat. It's alive, but what I see, he's just stretching out and like grinding his teeth without a care in the world. That's called bruxing. What? When a rat chatters its teeth, that's bruxing. He's not acting panicked or aggressive, so I guess he's just happy. I look at his face. I don't know. His eyes keep coming out the socket and going back in. It looks disgusting, like he's in a lot of pain. So he's boggling. Must be really content. How did he know so much about... Never mind. I'm getting an eerie feeling. This is weird, man. I have a feeling there's a kindred hidden nearby weird. My thoughts exactly. Kadir slowly approaches a secluded corner of the room. And there it is. He kicks a pile of clothes lying on the floor. I'm just a corpse. Leave me alone. Lucky for you, we're all corpses here, D'Angelo. You're amongst friends. Clumsily, drunkenly, the pile of clothes transforms into an unkept man who looks like he's suffered from some sort of skin disease. You know, a true friend would just bury me. Unlucky for you, we're not that kind of friends. Lucky, unlucky, schmucky my ass. How'd you guess I was here? See, I've been asking around for the past few days. What I learned is that for reasons that can be best described as nebulous, you've made a few enemies in the last year. Yeah. Tell me something I don't know. One thing that caught my interest is how everyone has on good authority that your place was raided. A few times. Without you being found, yet nobody assumed responsibility for these acts. Hell, doesn't this den always look like it was just raided? Can't blame anyone for making an educated assumption. I had a hunch there might be more to these rumors. See, it looks like a convenient coincidence when everyone hears something that makes them look the other way, and coincidences are for fools. Well, you got my number, and you can see my ugly mug right in front of you, so it's no use playing dumb, I suppose. Agreed. You've seriously spent all those weeks holed up in here? Is the hunger not getting to you? You got a lot of critters around this area, and we've become chums. Some of these rats actually got addicted to the kiss. They come to me every night, acting like coke hounds, begging for it. Been getting them drunk just to get some rush out of feeling on them. Feels a bit like slaving a horribly burnt piece of pizza in ketchup. But in this situation, I'll take what I can get, you dig? It's so gross I feel to keep my poker face, he notices. So who's the dame? Julia Savonsky, a detective investigating Baron Callahan's death. He raises his head for a short while to stare in Kadir's eyes and treat him with a vulgar snicker. Ooh-wee, someone finally put the old man on ice. Whoever did, it did the world a huge favour. Absolutely, but I've got orders to establish who that was, and I've been stumbling in the dark for the past few days. We need your help. I'll be damned. Your sleuth skills must really not be up to par if you're begging a bum like me for help. It's an unusual case. How so? It's extremely political. Ooh-wee. I asked, how's it unusual? Feels like the game was rigged against me from the start, like I'm just bumbling around and achieving nothing while everyone laughs behind my back. Geez, you sound hopeless, kiddo. Haven't you read a Chandler book? That's how it always is. Just do your best, endure the embarrassment, and hope that you stumble on the answer by accident. He accidentally lets a metal flask in his hand slip out and fall to the floor, then struggles to pick it up. Kadir can't bear to watch. God, what happened to you, Gianni? I've never seen you this low before. Stress-related disorders causing a disruption in my routine is what a shrink would say. Happens when a lot of shady folk are out to put a stake through your chest. Help us. Tell us what you know and we might be able to help you in return. Yeah, respect where it's due, miss, but I think it's going to be the other way round. I ain't telling you to shit, pardon my French, until I know I can get some protection. Gianni. Don't you Gianni me, Kadir Alasami. I know your level, but I also know that your honor is one of the few things you care about. You want me to endanger myself, you put it on the line for me. And that's that. You either promise to extend your protection to me, or the moment you step away from here I sneak away into the sewers and that's the last you'll ever see of me. Kadir shoots me a weary sideways glance. I know, he drives a hard bargain. Especially for someone whose sense of self-worth doesn't appear to be sky high at the moment. Maybe, but I do value my own life quite a bit, thank you very much. Friends. Kadir sighs. Alright, but 3 months from now, the moment Prince Panhard tells me it's no longer possible for the court to offer you safety without compromising its principles, you're on your own. No negotiations, that's the only deal I can strike with you. Take it or leave it. D'Angelo scratches his head and grunts loudly, tugs on his mask and stands up. That's Jake with me, big fella. I might have strong opinions about Panhard, but hell, I'm sitting on dynamite, I'll take what I can get. Who else in New York would you rather rely on? You want me to call the mayor? My opinions about the prince aren't that bad. So, what do you good folks want from me? Who wants you dead? Ah, starting the interrogation with a tricky one. Wouldn't I like to know? Step up, Gianni. You seem to be getting how quid pro quo works. Wouldn't I like to know won't cut it. What can I tell you? That warlock Agathon, or whatever his name is, presumed dead. Tamaka, MIA, with SI on her back, so possibly KIA by now. Hope the Kook, in her office under Vanderven's skirt. Around the time they started having trouble, some rough-looking streetwise kindred started hanging out at my usual spots. Didn't take me long to connect the dots. Wait, what's the connection between you and these three? Ever since last year, folks started hiring us for various gigs, some even trying to get us to join their coteries. All of these opportunities were rather short-lived. However, the delicate tightrope act of working for various employers made us fully aware there's an intrasect alliance in NYC, kindred from both sides often working for the same goals without knowing it. The moment we started figuring it all out, a cleanup crew went downtown. I know the serious warlock boy snuffed something out in his own backyard, but then he disappeared. Then I lost all contact with Open Tamaka and went AWOL. Hope they're doing fine, and they didn't snitch on me to anyone. They are, and didn't even tell me you guys knew each other, so I think you're safe. Oh, wait. Why were you milking them for intel, kid? I found a list of 4 names on Callahan's remains. You can probably guess what they were. I get the picture, yeah. Christ almighty. I thought it was just a list of freelancers, potential associates, probably prepared by Carter Vanderlyn. My money's on him being involved, but I smell bullshit. You got any idea who might have done the boss in? Any more clues? None at all. That's why we want you to come in, friend. Investigate the murder scene. The way only you know how. Tell us what you think. Guide Julia in the proper direction. D'Angelo sizes me up, scratching his head. Sure, whatever. I'll try my best, kiddo. Lead the way. I'll drive you there, or at least as close as possible. I wouldn't be welcome that deep in Anarch territory. Just clean yourself up a bit, Gianni. I just had my own upholstery cleaned last week. Can we comment on my amazing ability to switch between those 3 voices? After dropping us off at the same place Catherine first introduced me to Mia, Kadir quickly drives away. Here we are. Swell, a classic closed room mystery. Let me take a look. He starts walking around the office, carefully taking in every element. So you're saying basically a nobody, but you can simply call Catherine White and have her open a sesame. Open sesame and adult crib for you. Dunno, sure sounds like a someone to me. Don't misunderstand, I only met her during the course of this investigation. Everyone basically been treating me like dirt whenever I go. I'm only acknowledged enough to legitimize this sham. Lord Castlereagh. That was abrupt interruption. I was busy sharing, damn it. Excuse me? He's pointing at the painting of the man overseeing the entire office. I met Murder on the way. He had a mask like Castlereagh. Very smooth he looked, yet grim. 7 bloodhounds followed him. He seems to have completely switched his modus operandi upon seeing the murder scene. He's in his own little world, and his behaviour has become more machine-like, erratic. I still don't follow. I never knew this old Irish coot was into the Napoleonic era. But then again, I have no idea about his exact age, of course, so maybe that's where he lived, or was born. Anywho. Pay minimal attention to me, alright? Who am I looking at here? That's Lord Castlereagh, born as Robert Stewart, a British Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs at the beginning of the 19th century. Incredibly influential, incredibly hated. That's one thing about Castlereagh, and I'll tell you. He was the man who destroyed Napoleon for good, the man who shaped British politics for ages, the man who built foundations for Europe's unity at Vienna. Ask another and I'll tell you he was the man who destroyed the Irish Parliament, the man who cracked down on any possibility of reform and had supported the cavalry massacring peaceful protesters. He's sprouting these facts like a computer. Is that the hint for detectives' photographic memory? I have to say, it's downright perverted for an Irishman to put Castlereagh's portrait in his office. Definitely proof our victim was sick in the head. As if we needed more evidence there. Probably idolised him too. Maybe identified with him. Yeah, that's possible. Callahan and his ilk adore those jagoffs who strive to reach across the aisle and achieve hard compromises. Too bad nobody else ever remembers them well. I feel like I should say something. I've got this nagging feeling in the back of my mind. How did he die? He committed suicide in the 1820s. His family took every sharp item away from him, but he was, well, dedicated. Why'd he do it? Pressure mounting from all sides. Deserved hate coming from all sides. Plain old overwork. Might have gone nuts. Kept saying he saw ghosts, otherworldly silhouettes guiding him, yada yada. That unpleasant feeling grows in my stomach. Also, there's a rumour someone was threatening to expose him as a homosexual. Having to choose between being publicly denounced and ending it all by his own hand, he chose the latter. Well, that's just depressing. Maybe, but the silver lining is, it couldn't have happened to a nicer fella. He stops above Callahan's corpse and laughs. Posterity will ne'er survey a nobler grave than this. Here lies the bones of Castlereagh. Stop, traveller, and piss. And he kicks his bones to glee, causing me to jump a little. Is he still under the influence? Isn't that tampering with a crime scene? Kiddo, as far as I can tell, the crime scene's been fucked up 3 times over. Can't really be ruined more than it already has. I agree, but it looked the same the last time I was here. And it was already a total mess before you got here. Whatever. Standing by the metal shutters on the window, he abruptly changes the topic. Lightproof. Maybe you toyed with these? No, in general I avoid machinery like that. It doesn't like me and I don't like it. They don't like you? They don't work properly. It's like I give technology an allergy. Sometimes industrial cameras mess up my face, sometimes I can't use a phone. You think it could be useful, but it's just a curse. I see. You think these blinds could have been the murder weapon? How so? Let's say for some reason our stiff was standing there as the sun was rising. Maybe staring at poor old Castlereagh, looking for a soulmate to accompany him to the other side. Yet another guy pushed the suicide by politics. Pretty old school, romantic, yada yada. Or maybe it was a torpor. Or maybe it was a freak accident. Or maybe it was premeditated. In any case, sunlight would have been a perfect murder weapon, no? He takes off the mask to shoot a disfigured smile my way. Well, that's just a theory anyway. Well, it sounds sound. Does it? Because I was just spitballing. It's practically impossible to make certain now, kiddo. The most logical cause of final death would be damage to the heart, and that can easily be done without damaging the skeleton. And he sets off with a wink. What's he playing at here? Safe. Anyone made a crack at it yet? As far as I know, only Callahan knew the code, and the safe itself is pretty hard to crack. Watch me, kiddo. He presses an ear to the safe and slowly begins to rotate the dial. Stop clowning around. You're a safe cracker now? When you're cursed with countenance such as mine, you decide jobs such as mine, you gotta be a jack of all trades. Yeah, but still. Sounds pretty hard. Last year there was this random fella visiting a heritage museum in Alberta. He found a safe that hadn't been opened in 4 years. Not a single specialist, not even a blacksmith could handle it. Man just studied the number and listened closely to the mechanism and attempted the most sensible combination, and voila, the unthinkable happened. That's where just trusting your instincts leads you. Too bad he found nothing inside but an old pay sheet. A metallic screech. The door opens. I'll be damned. And it looks like we got the same here. Confetti. Just a few random papers scattered around. But for what it's worth, the lock is an obvious trace of mechanical manipulation. Probably decent too. Reeks of foul play. But what do we know for sure, really? I'm done here. You can take over. Another wink, another walk in a random direction. I look inside the safe. Quite spacious. I haphazardly grab everything that's left inside and hide it on my person, and close the door so nobody knows he managed to crack it. When I turn around, he's motioning me to come closer to a sheet of paper lying on his desk. So yeah, kiddo, you probably know the entire beeswax about shooting his cat, so I'm not going to bore you with that, but honestly, anything could have happened here. I read the text he's written on the empty page. This place is wired. This place is wired. It gives me chills. I think I'm okay. I tried to record my own voice a bunch of times on a different hardware, just to see if I can. It mostly comes out as noise. He nods and starts scribbling something else as he continues blabbering on and on. The best strategy would be to make an educated guess about what happened here, then interrogate everyone about it. Maybe you'll take someone by surprise. Drop a hook on them. The wiretap is a chip in the broken glass bottle on the floor. Absolutely sure it belongs to Kaiser. Kaiser, the elusive information broker, the talk of the city. Finally have an excuse to nab him. I understand. I think I have an idea on how to use it to find him. Should I notify Kadir? Scribble, scribble. Takes longer than before. So yeah, I'll be meeting up with Kadir. You stay here, sister. Maybe there's something you've been missing. Your call, doll. You're going behind his jurisdiction, so he will try to stop you. Beyond. Whatever you do, just give me 10 minutes heads up, so I can get to relative safety. For sure. I'll be back into the sheriff's custody for me. See you around, Julia. Sorry this old codger couldn't have been more help. If I don't contact him in 2 hours, let Kadir know what happened. I'll be going. I've got a plan. Now all I need to execute it is a clueless bystander. This guy will do. Do you, need me for anything else? Not really. Better take a hike before the guy you just called shows up. I can't guarantee he won't make you hurt. Will do. He puts his head down and obediently trots down the street. Might have messed with his head a little too much with my wily kindred charms, but I needed him to tell Kaiser where I want to meet, quite clearly, multiple times. Would have given him the kiss as thanks at least, but I had told the big man I wouldn't be here all night and that he'd better hurry up, so I want to be ready when he comes. Less than 15 minutes later, a menacing black limo takes a fast, sharp turn onto my street and stops in front of me. Suddenly, something like an acid flashback hits me. I know this limo. I've seen it all around the place for the past few days, but never thought it might be tailing me. Still, it must have. Looks like I'm finally about to get some answers. Doors open and a raspy voice comes from inside. Get the fuck in, Savonsky. I smile and accept the invitation. There he is, Kaiser, the king of New York City's information highways, surrounded by screens, speakers, and newfangled technological gizmos of all kinds. First impression, he's one repulsive son of a bitch. D'Angelo was also a sewer rat, and he might have had similar physical disadvantages, but at least he was wholly endearing. With this guy, there's no room for any kind of sentiment. He's inhumanly cold, and I get the feeling he's been like this for ages. You're grey again on my nerves, little lady, and I'm far from being the only one. I get the sense he's meant for all this to be threatening. Instead, I'm elated. After a week of running around like a headless chicken, unsure if I was getting anywhere, finally I get a compliment. There's one thing I learned back in Lodestar is that you only know what you're doing your job correctly when someone powerful gets visibly mad. I have no idea what you mean. No need to play dumb, especially considering you're a natural. The art hole, double spiral, the Second Inquisition, Talk's Den. How's it feel to have made enemies absolutely everywhere? He scoffs at me with pure contempt. Listen, I'll speak as plainly as humanly possible to get through your little head, since it's obvious you're not willing to read the obvious singles. You were hired for one thing and one thing only, lady. To suck at your job, and you couldn't even do that correctly. People keep stopping by my limo this week telling me, Kaiser, dear Kaiser. We keep trying to make her understand how hopeless she is, but she won't get a clue. She doesn't have any evidence, she doesn't have a testimony, but she still goes around knocking on everyone's doors, causing disturbances. It's such a freaking headache. Usually I try to be a jovial host, so I cheer them up. She's not that much of a dunce, I say. She's making mountains out of a molehill to make herself seem useful, I say. She's about to stop. But you, in your infinite idiocracy, decide to prove me wrong in the most spectacular fashion by knocking on my very own door, forcing my hand, threatening me even. Are you... Can't read basic fucking social cues? Stop for 1 second and ask yourself, que bueno, who even fucking wants you to solve anything, let alone this case? See, this city has a delicate system set in place. Usually it's flawless, but ever since you started tinkering with it, it's been having these irritating malfunctions, and it's driving people. Are you done? A weird, disgusting sound, something between a gargle and a bark, escapes his throat. Unbelievable. All I'm hearing is that you're in possession of some information that might help me solve the puzzle I was presented with. If that's the case, I'm going to ask you to share it. I swear you're absolutely irredeemable. You fucking garbage dump of a woman. How do I get through all the rubbish in your head to drive my point in? Don't you know who I am? Oh, I know who you are. You're the one who had Callahan's place wired, which makes you a possible witness of sorts, or even a suspect. For Christ's sake, woman, get real. Even if your accusations were correct, then who, pray tell, would you report them to? Do you even know what kind of people I answer to? No. Care to acquaint us? Is that really what you want? You want to know who pulls the strings? Give me 10 minutes and I can arrange a meeting. But this is your last chance to turn back. You don't, I can't tell you now, you're going to be sorry. The big kahuna? Finally. Now we're talking. Yeah, the big kahuna. So this is your final answer, huh? Absolutely. Unbelievable. He takes out his phone and begins furiously typing. I relax in the seat. Finally, we're getting somewhere. It might be dangerous, but at least I'll finally get a clue of what's going on. I'm just saying, this is the point of no return. My boss doesn't fuck around. Best case, you're gonna beg him to take you in. Whatever. He keeps grumbling under his breath, but I'm not even listening. I just watch the streets go by. To light the blue, I experience a strong sense of foreboding. I first spot her in the corner of my eye. She's hovering right next to Kaiser with an expression that's impossible to discern. When she speaks, her voice is machine-like, yet otherworldly. Fine, we're 5 minutes away or so. Get the boys ready to give her the Mel Gibson special. The moment he puts away his phone, the silhouette disappears. We're 5 minutes away. Better start figuring out how you might prove yourself and useful to the honcho. There is no honcho. Oh my god, of course. This motherfucker's setting me up. I need to get out of here now. I do the first thing that comes to mind. I grab the door handle and pull. He notices me scrambling and struggles to grab me. Hold up, you stupid fucking cunt! Glass breaks. Loud thuds of something heavy hitting the asphalt. Tires screech. I think he grabs me. I think he tried to pull me back in. I think we fell out of the limo. I think his body cushioned my fall. But I'm struggling to process what's going on. It's like I'm blanking out. When I come to, he's already attempting to get up, cursing under his breath. The limo had stopped a little further in, but wherever the driver is, he's not coming out. Fucking When he stands up, he'll be out for vengeance. He's an older vampire. Who knows how strong he is? I need something that will give me the advantage. The pepper spray. Of course. It probably won't be as effective as it would be on a living person, but it's still worth a try. I limp towards this asshole, disarm the device, aim towards his eyes, and unload the entire canister. Ah! It worked. It actually worked. I keep up the offensive. I punch him, kick him, throw him around, I pummel him. I smash his head against the curb. I struggle to harm him in whatever way I can, just like a frightened animal. I don't know how long it lasts. Maybe a minute, maybe eternity. The driver steps out the limo to help his boss, but once he sees what I'm doing, he runs away in panic. Feels good. Feels horrible. Once I'm done, I sit on the curb and scream my lungs out to avoid crying. Then I look at him. He seems shocked, barely hanging on. I know what I've done was extremely stupid. I did hear how he was one of the most influential figures in the city. That's probably why I never expected to get his ass whooped, especially by someone like me. When he speaks again, his voice is pathetic, surprisingly close to a whimper. You'll pay. You'll fucking pay. You've lost, mislaid and abandoned property of a woman. He's unwell, talking nonsense. I approach him again. You wanted to have me whacked. What, do you think I'm stupid? You needed to be taught a lesson. Well, would you look at who ended up teaching who? Now talk. Tell me everything you know about Callahan's final death. All of it. Good. You can fuck me up however bad you want. I'm still not gonna tell you shit. You try anything, there'll be consequences. There will be retribution. My mouth is shut. He might be my last chance to solve this case, but if I don't force him to talk, he won't. There's a burgeoning thought in my mind, but it scares even me. Do I dare to push him to the edge, make him suffer until he squeaks? Chat gets to vote. What do we do? Do we beat the shit out of Kaiser? Or do we not cross that line? Poll going for the next 2 minutes, chat. If you want to hop in and vote, that would be great. Also, guys, if you want to support the stream in a great way, you could share the stream around, please. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your families. Share it in the Discord. How to deal with Kaiser. Again, my voice acting in this fucking game is really impressive in my opinion. Like, I gotta give myself some props. Mess him up one. Okay, we're gonna beat the shit out of him. Well, I'm sure you will open your mouth if I do this. I put his shin against the curb. Wait. What? And kick with all my strength. Ah! It's a compound fracture. I barely managed to suppress my gag reflex. Feels like I'm disassociating. You fucking psycho! You fucking psychotic bitch! He's actually weeping, like a child. Totally shatters a tough image he was trying to project earlier. Like, this is the first time anyone's ever used physical violence against him. And what if it is? You either start talking or the other leg goes, then the hands. Then, I will get creative. I try to collect myself and put his other leg against the curb. I'll talk! I'll fucking talk! The kick connects. It's a light one, a sadistic feint. I still manage to get a pathetic whimper out of him. Then talk. This had better be good. He looks at me with pure fury, then begins to speak through clenched teeth. You want to know who was in Callahan's office before he died, little lady? Everyone. Fucking everyone and their mother was there. Vandervin, Eiling, Arturo, and Panhard. Became a douche motherfucker. Talk with his sidekick. All of them. Callahan thought the only way out was to pit them all against each other, or to ally with every single one of them. Little did he know he was in for the best interest for it. It was on all of their best interest for him to fucking die. That's good. That's great. But who killed him? I have no fucking idea. That won't do. Once again, I put his leg in a potentially disastrous position. In response, he starts howling manically. You fucking sadist! You fucking monster woman! I really have no idea. Who kept complaining to you about me? Who's responsible for getting rid of the evidence? Everyone! Everyone did! Callahan had dirt on everyone and antagonized everyone, so it took fucking everyone to bring him down. All evidence is gone. Every theory is equally true, so none of it is. Don't you see, you fucking cunt? Everyone is complicit, so nobody is. Why the fuck do you think Sophie Langley's no longer around? Why are not talks no longer pretending to be a revolutionary? Why are free agents involved? Why are they shutting you up tomorrow? Shutting me up? Who? Can't you connect the dots, you dumb whore? What are you, an idiot? Somebody's about to get... Julia! I look back over my shoulder and see Kadir. Bloody hell, what's wrong with you? Kadir? You're out of control. This is why I didn't want you to get involved. I had a hunch. A hunch that the moment you got a whiff of truth out, all brakes would be off. Look, you're talking nonsense. You're out of your damn mind. I should have you enough for a potential Masquerade breach. Just let me explain myself. This ugly fucker tried to have me beaten, maybe even killed. Don't you care about that? I have no idea, Chef. No idea. She's dangerous. Psychotic. Shut the fuck up. I can't control myself. I kick him where I know it will hurt him the most. My fucking leg! Stop this right now, you goddamn idiot! I freeze in place. I've never heard him use that tone with me. I will take care of you in a moment. In my car, Kaiser. Hold on. I'm not done questioning me yet. It looks like there's a major conspiracy to... I'm gonna have to ask you to leave, and you're gonna be glad I leave it at that. If you do that, I'm gonna have to assume you're complicit. That's worth 2 strikes in my book. You don't want to risk a third. So that's that, then. Tell me, what was all my footwork even for? We'll be seeing each other, little lady. Can you hear this? Go home, Julia. But go home. Fine, I will. But before I do, I take a quick peek into Kaiser's limo, still abandoned a little further down the street. I skip the church visit again tonight. I want more time to finish this report. Who knows? Might be my final one. I want to spend more time with Dakota. Yeah, just forget about the rest of the world. A lot happened tonight, but I can still be at our apartment an hour earlier than usual. She should be glad. I sneak into the apartment as silently as possible, trying to surprise her. When I reach the bedroom, I see something unexpected. It hits me like a ton of bricks. At the beginning, I can't properly peruse the sight. But when I finally understand what I'm looking at, it causes a wave of terror and disgust to swell up inside my chest. What the fuck? She's shocked to see me, doesn't know what to do. She's like a deer in the headlights or a schoolgirl probably trying to hide her misdeeds from a teacher. You're early. Yes, I am. These are my clothes, Dakota. These are my cigarettes. That's my jewelry on the table. Yeah, I was, and I'm pretty sure... God almighty, I just thought I was being neurotic whenever I noticed something dreadfully familiar in you. I can explain. Please do explain. A good 10 seconds of awkward silence pass. I can see her spending an eternity in her head. This isn't what it looks like. Oh my god, it's exactly what it looks like. I'll just come out and say it. Dakota, are you single white femaling me? It all makes sense now. No, come on, no. I thought I was the leech in this relationship. We watched that movie together. We made fun of Jennifer Jason Leigh together, a roommate stalking and imitating her own roommate. Haha, what a concept, right? I was being fed on a far more sinister way without knowing it. Don't be silly. Silly? I've never been this serious with you. So whenever she putting on my makeup, whenever I used her as a mirror, was she always hyping me up because she wanted to live vicariously through me? So many little things make sense in retrospect. The way you keep modulating your speech after me, the weird way our tastes were always compatible, some of your art feeling so familiar. None of it would trigger any alarms by itself, and yet she's as humanly embarrassed as possible. Julia, listen. Don't fucking touch me. I can barely think of anything more repulsive than being put on a pedestal like this. It's like the other person's begging me to perceive them as someone worse, if not outright subhuman. Don't be like this, just don't. You know, this would be infinitely more palatable if you talk to me like a person here and not like, I don't know, your fucking mummy. You know what? Fuck you. I've been locked in this apartment by myself because of all the pandemic shit going on. It's fucking me up. I know you have it hard right now, so I didn't want to bother you. Yeah, I was counting on you to ask about how I'm feeling. Babe, how's your work-life balance? Are you feeling claustrophobic? Hey, is it just me or is our drug supply weirdly shrinking too fast? But no, you were too much of a self-centered bitch. You regularly suck me dry and it's okay, but the moment I entertain the thought of taking something in return, I'm crossing a line? Oh no, I'm a member of an immortal elite secret society. It's so hard to cope, Dakota. Whenever I gracefully decide to visit our apartment, let's just do what I enjoy until the pain stops. Fuck you. Fuck you. Sincerely, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. There's nothing you can do but take, and you should have learned by now that just taking will make you happy, you big dumb bitch. Stop. Just... I'm destined for better things than this. Get the fuck out of here. You disgust me. Dakota breaks down crying. She grabs a jacket and purse and runs out the apartment. I don't try to stop her. I stand there for a short while in silence and then lock the door. Did she take her keys? I don't know. I don't know if I care. I desired for someone else, not for myself. For a way to open a different world, not get locked back in mine. I collapse on the sofa bed. I smell her perfume. I always liked it, but now it makes me slightly nauseous. I try not to think of Dakota. I think of Kaiser. I think of Kadir. I think of Callahan. No matter what I think of, I sense doom. I feel I've just sealed my fate, whatever it may be. Everything fucking sucks. Back into the void. Back into the void. Back into the void. For me, it always starts with an image. An image what might be vaguely eerie or interesting, but usually not an image that would provoke particularly strong feelings by itself. Usually it hides a mystery, that much is correct. But that mystery doesn't exist without text, or more specifically a context. Context is everything. One way or another you need to process what you're looking at. Maybe that context will be something you've heard or overheard. Maybe, although quite rare and pretty special, it'll be your own creative, captivating, complete interpretation. A ghost of an idea. Is this a half-forgotten memory of something unspeakably beautiful I will never ever see again? Just a scene from a movie? A fragment of a music video? An animation? Maybe this really is the last thing Callahan ever saw in his own life. Warm sunbeams caressing his skin and turning it to ash. giant ball of fire engulfing his body in flame from 93 million miles away. Was he terrified? Was he grateful? There's no will, no suicide note, no nothing. Instead, we can only count on what the local historians will write, presumably letting their biases shape the narrative one way or another. What am I looking at here? A horrible, laughable hall of mirrors? A creep whom I never ever want to see again? A vampire much more despicable than myself? Or maybe someone who loved taking care of me and deserved to be cared for in return? Funny thing, whenever I was high as a kite, mentally lost in dimensions parallel to ours, she was my anchor. Our shared history, my feelings for her were an anchor. Matthew McConaughey returning to his estranged daughter from the other side of the cosmos, from beyond the event horizon, guided by nothing but love. Then, whenever I got back to planet Earth for a week or two, I was haunted by a memory of that affection. I was the best possible version of myself towards her. But that haunting always refused to transfigure into something real. What gradually took its place were angry, disappointed thoughts, and among them, one thought that I was always trying to suppress. I need someone who'd know how to raise me up spiritually. All I have is a sycophant who always working her ass off to lift me up without understanding what I need. It's hurting us both. Having these words pop in my head hurt me because they had a ring of truth to them, but also because I knew there must be another narrative, a better narrative. I was just too stupid to find it. Story of my life, story of my unlife. I still have no idea what I think about this city. I had the best city in the world phase, I had the just a playground for wealthy fucktards phase, and now I'm in search of a better description. One day, probably, I'll stumble upon a piece of writing on a prestigious TV show saying that will contain just that. And suddenly, I will look at this place with new eyes. Or maybe I won't. It's like the frustrations I had back in Lodestar. All these worlds constantly trailing behind reality, trapping you in useless mindsets instead of bringing enlightenment. Fuck all those flashy writers whose main concern is furthering their own brand. Douchebags who present you with limited, pathetic, depressing realities where they're kings. Fuck it all to hell. We need words that will paint a brighter future before our eyes. But what if that can't be done without reinterpreting the past first? What if we haven't even defined the ills and threats correctly? Once again, my thoughts return to the same visual that's been tormenting me every waking moment of this past week. A senseless demise devoid of any context, a crime scene stripped of evidence, an image created by an unknown artist designed to leave you dumbfounded. The investigation is over, all possible avenues explored, all non-testimonials are in, no concrete evidence found, the play is almost complete, the act is ready to leave the stage. It is what it is. I failed as a detective, maybe through no fault of my own, but again, it is what it is. This case, this scene, this picture never needed an investigator. What I understand all the people in charge ever wanted was a talented writer. What if a ghost of an idea? When I wake up, Dakota's still not here. I don't know how to feel about that, so I just don't. Kadir hasn't left any messages by the door. Still that mad, huh? He'll probably appeal to the court to take me off the case. And if half of the garbage Kaiser was spouting is correct, he shouldn't have much trouble convincing everyone. I look in the mirror and stare at my warped non-reflection. This place is upsetting. You need to change the scenery, girl. The depressing streets of lockdown New York City will do. I think of God. Maybe that's why I have consciously picked the cathedral as my destination. I think of the silver cross adorning my chest, an empty signifier. Whenever someone asks me why I wear it, they hear a different story. I think of these silhouettes that I keep spotting in the corner of my eye. No. I don't even want to imagine what that means. I feel what it means, and it makes me nauseous enough. I think of my clan, so closely tied to the Catholic Church. It's a loveless marriage, so to speak. Life, for example. The one between my parents. I think about the greatest irony of the sombre truce with the Holy See. We are the only ones who stay so close to the Lord's light, even though we certainly will never, ever reach it. Some of us shadows have visions. Visions of comrades who departed this world recently, travelling through some abstract space, one that's disturbing and astonishing in equal measure. They almost reach whatever afterlife there is for our kind, but then get caught and consumed by a dark, monstrous silhouette. The rumour is our antediluvian wasn't stopped by his final death. That's the ancient vampires. He's still out there, behind the shadows, taking revenge for our patricide, feeding on us like Saturn, devouring his children. As Dakota would say, it might not be factual, but it's an emotional truth. From joining the Camarilla to panically scrambling for any safe house, it's like our elders are solely motivated by fear. The sins of our father are catching up with them, and it's young kindred like me who are given responsibility to clean up their mess with the constant sense of doom looming over the horizon. We don't talk about salvation anymore, we just minimize the impact of damnation. That's no way to live, but then again, maybe that's why they call it unlife. Shit, it's Benoy. Hello there, lost sheep. I'll have you know this shepherd was extraordinarily patient in waiting for you. What are you doing here while the night's so young? Out for blood? Well, you're in luck. This place offers both the body and blood. If missionaries learn their methods from pickup artists, this guy will be the fucking guy. I'm not in the mood. You sorry ass bum. Step the fuck away from me or you're gonna be sorry. Oh my, something's trolling you. If so, I can arrange a confession. Or if you're in a hurry, keep in mind the path from inner turmoil begins with a friendly ear, and I've got one right here. You want me to fuck you up, don't you? Don't you? Julia, as you should know by now, I always interpret this kind of response to preaching the divine as the devil stirring inside. Is that what it is, Julia? The liar and the father of lies got a hold of your soul? If so, give me a signal, even the smallest one, and I'll do my best to spot it. Something swells up inside my chest. I recognize the feeling. The handbrake just broke, and I'm definitely not on level ground. Here we go. Listen, I've had enough, alright? Enough. Enough of your sanctimonious attitude, enough of your brazen lack of basic empathy, enough of your dumb, ugly fucking mug. You're a fucking singularity of stupid, tasteless, and cringe. I've met all sorts of horrible shitheads and asshats this week, and somehow none of them got under my skin the way you do, you motherfucker. Like a goddamn Jehovah's Witness going from door to door, except you're always knocking on my fucking skull going, hey, do you know God exists? Have you heard that God exists? Like, hold up, hold it right there. When did I ever say that God exists? What? I said, what makes you think I believe God exists? Oh, now you're just fucking with me. No, I'm serious. Well, he sounds serious at least. I'm actually speechless. I think there's been some sort of silly misunderstanding that desperately needs to be cleared up. I'm all ears. I sure hope so, Julia. I feel like you must have ignored half of what I've been saying for you to reach these conclusions. That's very well possible, actually. Usually takes 15 seconds of him talking for me to completely zone out. So to avoid any mix-up, I will go back to the beginning and explain the core of my religious beliefs, okay? So, I love the Catholic imagery. I cherish the traditions and lore. I adore the practices, the intricacies, the theology, the messages contained in the Bible. Of course I do. Does that mean I believe that one day I'll see the big dad in the sky? Forgive me, Lord, but I don't think so. Doesn't sound very likely, especially for a bloodthirsty creature of the night. So that's what this is about? Fun imagery? That's overly simplified, but yeah, I suppose you could say that. What the fuck, are you ain't Catholic? You're just a weirdo cosplayer. Says a non-practicer who still wears the cross. Yeah, but I don't shove it down people's throats for fun in my spare time. I'm simply trying to share the joys of religion has brought to my own life with others. What joys? Oh, where to start, when there's so many. The joy of having plainly understandable rules to follow. The joy of having a structure to your life. The joy of always knowing where to find people who share your values. Above all, it's a joy of being an aristocrat. In aristocracy, surrounding oneself with exquisite, luxurious architecture, beautiful classical music, ornate rituals. Oh my god, he's a fucking Toreador! Or Tremere. He's the one that gets obsessed with certain pieces of art, and that's their flaw. Appears to virtue separating the communities or serving an idea greater than themselves. It's like a monarch or some Camarilla traditions, but not as gauche. So that's what it was. You saw pretty paintings and buildings and thought, hell yeah, I want in, and then you just decided what they mean to you? Oh, don't get me wrong, it's real faith that brought me to the fold, but eventually I whittled down religion to its core, to what interests me. Unbelievable. But don't think for a second I wasn't empathetic when I was trying to convert you. You're the embodiment of existential despair surrounding us, the one that people usually try to drown out with drugs, sex, work, Netflix. Pick your poison, all of them temporary copes. Empty yourself, kill your ego, get a routine, join a community, ground your morality in something tangible, start perceiving yourself as part of something greater. All of it good advice by itself, but codified and apply an appealing otherworldly aesthetic, one that keeps the beast at bay, one you're almost fitting into the way you are. What's there to hate? Unbelievable. You're a goddamn lunatic. He looks to the sky. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Stop that. Your entire ideology is just aesthetic, you fucking loon. And how exactly do I differ from anyone else nowadays in this regard? Stop arguing semantics. No, you stop. Just look at yourself. A privileged burnout who refuses to invest herself in anything. Only started committing to anything when for once in her own life you were forced to do a politically charged, dangerous task. Once it's over, you're back to being an aimless brat. Desire to murder increases. Ever since World War II, I've been watching every person and every ideal I cared about wither and disappear. That's the source of my pain. That's the reason I'm what I am. The source of your pain, a thing that defines you. People have been mean to you. Fuck off. People in third world countries keep their heads high while suffering every sort of horror, but you have a complete mental breakdown every time you remember you have mummy issues. Wow. Classy. Oh, don't act like you have the high ground here, you oblivious sadist. All I'm saying is everyone has a different framework, a different lens to view their suffering through. Yeah, and if there's one thing abandoning humanity should have shown you, it's the kind frameworks are not enough. Petty vendettas, childish romances, pointless power struggles, the dumb gamble that's chasing a successful career. Mummy and daddy issues? Sure, why not? Pain and pleasure dictate everything. Everyone wants something bigger than this. They want to escape from this drudgery. They want psychedelica, but permanent. They want to stare at God's face even if he does not exist. And you can show them how. Accept the cross you're wearing into your heart, Julia. Accept it. Creepy fucker. Just accept it. Alright, that's enough, Benoy. The moon changes in an instant. The sight of Father Leonard takes us both back. Father, what are you doing here so early? You two are arguing so loudly I had to come out and check. Even if all the panic on the TV these days, simply walking outside feels like marching into a war zone. Yeah, I'm sorry. You should be. I've only turned a blind eye to your quirks because I believe you have the heart in the right place. Mostly. I'm very disappointed in the way you approach folks in need. Right now, Benoy Segal is displaying all the confidence of a scouted teacher's favourite. But I was just trying to guide her, to set her on the right path. I know, Benoy. I know. That's the problem. The scarcity is open, but please head there right now. Please head there right now. The scarcity is open. Please head there right now. We need to have a long talk. Get me some coffee if you wish. But, Benoy! He slowly slinks away, looking defeated, deflated, and debased. I burn the moment into my retina, etch it onto my soul, kind of hoping I never have to see him again, and this is how I remember him. Father Leonard watches him closely until he disappears from sight and turns to me. I feel sorry for him. I keep hoping he might find some basic empathy through faith, but all I've done thus far is let him leave you at the end of your tether. Yeah, that's some faith he has. Are you okay with the bullshit he's sprouting? Huh. I don't exactly support it, but I don't reject it. It's like attrition and contrition. Imperfect and perfect repentance, you know? One's focused on a relationship with God, the other is selfish and focused on personal gain. But both of them work. Yeah, but doesn't this strike you as completely missing the point? But purely secular takes on Christ's teaching are nothing new. Pascal's wager is a boring example, but you by chance read Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita? Sure, back in Poland, every teen trying to look intellectual online loved to repeat that one joke about the talking cat who swears he'd never pour vodka for a lady because women deserve pure alcohol. That's one takeaway from that novel, I suppose. I read it as a moving depiction of Christ, who's not a divine being, stripped of mythic qualities but open for transcendence. Jesus and Satan understood as powerful forces battling within us. I have to read it again, it's been too long. Sounds nice though. I stretch lazily and take out another smoke. Leonard watches me before speaking up again. Julia? 4 hours from now there's going to be a meeting in the Elysium. The big finale of the celebration of power. Everyone will be there, but they were counting on you to not show up. The good sheriff plans to present the results of the investigation in your stead. It's a simple, crude strategy. Might work, but begs to be countered with an outrageous tactic. Take it as you will. The game is about to end. Is it now? Momentarily, I'm left dumbfounded. All I can muster is an eloquent, yeah? Oh, don't ask me. I'm just the messenger. Who relayed this message to you then? A good friend, a cautious friend. Wouldn't be able to tell you more than that even if you forced me to. Oh shit. This is the moment that might decide the rest of my days. What would you do in my place, father? When I was faced with a dilemma that would shape the rest of my life, the world felt too big and scary and impossible to understand. So I simply escaped from that choice into seminary. Yeah, if that's your idea of good advice, I'm going to have to ask you to shove it. I would expect nothing less. Don't you regret it? Regret what? You're kind of shady, but you don't seem like a bad guy. Still, you have to accept the people above you are responsible for some horrible things. If our superiors' acts count as our own sins, then on the face of it, probably half the people in this world are irredeemable. Clever, but not a real answer. And being a low-level grunt for assholes you find wholly objectionable is no way to live. I don't know. Is it? I finish the smoke in silence. I have to go. Don't know if and when we'll see each other again, but when that happens, I probably won't be the same old me. Of course, but before I learn to leave the scold Benoit, let me say one more thing. Yeah? These are difficult times. My parishioners keep calling me. The things people are going through, they might never admit, but if this keeps up, it will cause horrifying, invisible damage to this nation. A dreadful darkness is killing us all, little by little, and like every powerful evil, it manifests itself little by little. Yet, sinful as it may be, I confess to being strangely excited. For a moment, we're seeing this suffocating normal disappear. This is the time to dream of a new world as possible. Walk these empty streets, Julia. Remember how the city feels right now. Bask in its shadows and uncertainties. After the apocalypse comes the great rebirth. The Amaki Noctis awaits your next report with great curiosity. I give him a nod and sprint away. Now I know what I must do. Hey Moon, my lone constant companion. When I moved here for good from, the old country, you were the only close friend who kept me company. Never felt in the right place back there. Never felt in the right place here, especially now. I'm not quite alive, not quite dead, not that Slavic, not that American. But maybe it's about time I finally carve out some space for myself. It's been a long road, hasn't it? Wish me luck. I catch him in front of the out-hole because of course he has to be the first person I meet there. No way. No. I'm going to be the laughingstock of the entire city if I don't show the results of my own investigation. How about you demonstrate a modicum of courtesy? Courtesy? Girl, I should put you on trial. I can't guarantee I eventually won't. You've messed with Kaiser, the eminence gris of this city, beaten him to a pulp like a random goon. He will do everything he can to destroy you from now on, and my bet is he'll succeed. Whatever will be, will be. For now, I'd like to show the court I'm not a baby fledgling who can't see a task she was given to the end. You're making a huge mistake. How'd you even learn this meeting's happening in the first place? Maybe I'm not as trash an investigator as you thought I was. I never said, but you're showing it. That's not a fair assessment. I wanted to finish this whole mess myself, for your own good. Be nice if you ask what I think next time. I'm actually pissed off he tried to pull this off without me, but I'm not letting it show, counting on being able to guilt trip him into submission. His deep sigh of resignation proves that my tactic was successful. Fine, but you will stay quiet the whole time. No tricks, ifs, or buts. But of course. This way. We step into the maw of the gallery. The celebrations of power are almost over. Everyone's back in their usual respective styles, looking wary of each other's company, trapped in their own little worlds. The art hall's nearly empty now, and Kadir is gently strong-arming the last remaining nobodies until leaving the premise. Eventually only me and a select few of New York Camarillas VIPs remain. Ah, Miss Savonsky. Barely made it, huh? The asshole with a glued-on smile spots me fast, and he just seems as authentically enthused to see me as ever. so he finally showed his face around here. I wasn't sure you'd join us tonight. Kadir made this meeting sound like a one-man show. The preparations took me a bit longer than I thought they would. I apologise. Are you by chance planning to surprise us with something? Well, if it was planning something, it wouldn't be a surprise if I told you now, would it? Can I have everyone's attention, please? We're about to begin. Everyone remaining in the building gathers around Kadir. Ha, exciting. Is everyone present? Present. And accounted for. My prince? Yes, before we begin, let me welcome an unusual guest to our fold. She gestures towards a corner from behind which emerges a silhouette that never ever appear under normal circumstances. Name's Talk, and I'm the Baron of the Bronx. I was delegated here by my compatriots as an oversight. I was delegated here by my compatriots as an oversight authority. I'm here to observe the results of the investigation. Nothing more, nothing less. Let me stress this one time. This is a one-time occurrence meant to elevate the tension in the city, not a symbol of mutual recognition, not in the slightest. I peek at Addison's face to get a feel for how a hardline loyalist might grapple with this arrangement. His expression betrays no surprise, only a slight discomfort. If even he's fine with it, the prince must have been extremely convincing about the necessity of a temporary truce. Or about some Machiavellian tactics she got ready up her sleeve. Who knows? Of course, we might have irreconcilable differences, but there are times they have to be temporarily put aside in order to quell unrest and open paths for constructive, meaningful change. If anyone would like to voice their concerns, the time is now. Talk, Arturo, and Panhard exchange glances. Normally I consider it an innocent gesture. Knowing what I know, I roll my eyes. A stick or a carrot, Talk. What made you break and sell your compatriots? How much do you really know? If not, Kadir, may I? He steps into the middle of the room and clears his throat theatrically. First, let me plainly state the conclusion I'm going to present is by no means my own achievement. It is the result of tireless investigation conducted by talented kindred I won't name here. Telling glance and Talk's direction serves as a succinct explanation for why he refuses to call them by their names. And of course, Julia Savonsky, whose ceaseless groundwork over the past few nights served as a foundation for the findings that are about to be revealed here. Thank you, Julia. It's not the first time he set out to oversell my achievements. As the sheriff, my role here is mostly representative. I spent the last few days overseeing celebrations in Elysium, making sure no harm would befall anyone present. Luckily, none did. Looks like the prince's decisions to move forward with the event was the correct one. And for that we should extend our thanks to Kadir, and let us not overlook our guest to a degree. I managed to convince my key allies that a diplomatic action is the only way forwards this case. No matter how wrong-headed the enemy can be, we still need avenues to negotiate and communicate. I'm curious how Tamika would react to him looking like a corporate bastard, designing the future order, dismissing potential for change that lies in unrest. No wonder she dumped him. Spare us the empty pleasantries and let Kadir move on. I don't have all night for this. Right, I'll be concise. Douglas Boss Callahan's remains were found in his office by one of his ghouls first thing in the evening. The first kindred to confirm this was Anarch Baron Torque, present here. A mystery book would refer to circumstances of Callahan's death as a classic closed room mystery. The metal door, locked from the inside, served as the sole way in. There was no murder weapon, no useful testimonies, and the evidence was, how do I put it, barely circumstantial at best. What was left for us was one hell of a puzzle, when answer couldn't even be approached using the tried and tested question, Cui bueno? We were presented with a poorly timed power upheaval, a tense situation where a long-planned celebration was in danger, suddenly all of us faced with an uncertain future. Everyone benefited, yet nobody did. No one was especially fond of Callahan, but it's not like anyone seemed particularly keen on removing him from the equation, especially at this time. For a moment we were sure this was beginning the offensive on the part of the Camarilla. We started wondering just how violent our retaliation should be. And as for us, we were momentarily convinced that the Anarchs were plotting to blame us for their own internal power struggles. A tense situation, resolved only thanks to the skillful and swift diplomacy. Dare I say, yet another victory for our talented prince. Julia made sure to examine all the contacts Callahan might have had in his last days in book sex. Her efforts were tireless, and only rarely misguided. He just had to spit out at least one biting remark, didn't he? Oh well, he's probably just covering his arse. But as exhaustive as they might have been, they only served to mud all the possibilities, not explain them. Callahan had a lot of enemies, but they were most infuriating kind of enemies one can have. Folks who barely even thought of him anymore. In other words, no one really had particular interest in getting rid of him because they could always simply work their way around him. Just before last Christmas, he even witnessed the first ever successful First Light raid against his extremely profitable blood trade supply lines. Lone ace up his sleeve, a downright shady ability to perfectly maneuver all SI activities gone. Callahan's decline was apparent to all, and a domino effect made his empire slowly crumble. Up until recently, he'd done an admirable job keeping up with the times and getting away with murder, but suddenly all the Persian spotlights were on him. The recent stories we all hear about him all depict a depressed, downright manic recluse lashing out at everyone, struggling and utterly failing to fit into the new reality he found himself. A closed room, no evidence of struggle, a lack of strong whodunits, the corpse being found in the very early evening hours. The conclusion is simple. Callahan's final death was self-inflicted. Suicide, to put it in simple terms. Huh. Silence filled the room. So that's the angle they'll be pushing, isn't it? Let's hear it, Sheriff. I will explain. It was an independent detective who first set me on this theory only last night. There's no suicide note of any kind, of course, but the message our recently departed has sent might not have necessarily been a verbal one. The peculiar thing was the position of the body. It was like an arrow pointing at us to notice something. It appears the last thing Callahan saw in his own life was a portrait of one Lord Castlereagh, the second Marquis of Londonderry, which is coincidentally where Callahan was born. To most, he was a reviled traitor, a heartless suppressor of all dissent, the main threat against each rebellion the Irish have gone through, successful in all ways but those that mattered to his people. Some call him a tragic figure, holding together selfish allies against a common threat, always fighting for painful and unpopular compromises, ruined by overwork, sickness and poor public speaking skills. Not hard to see why Douglas Callahan would empathise. Polite snickers. Indeed, especially when you realise that the sickness in his blood, his failure, his hatred for his own people and a growing paranoia led him to commit a dramatic suicide within his own four walls. Ah, I see. The assumption is indeed, instead of stabbing himself to death with a knife or pen, he decided to let the sun embrace him in its warmth, Castlereagh's face burning into his eyes. A poetic final death. It's not a closure we might have wanted, but probably the best explanation of his motivations now that we're going to get. Does everyone follow? A heavy silence fills the room. Nobody speaks up, except Prince Panhard. To me, it's all perfectly understandable, agreeable, and most importantly, it fits the man I've come to understand over the last few decades. Consentient murmurs resonate through the room. Agreed, and I might add. There were some irregularities in the handling of the crime scene, but the Anarch leader's findings suggested Callahan's resentful ghouls were to blame. Folks have been real happy to see him dead, is all I'm saying, and they went overboard with the celebrations. They've all been interrogated, though. Yes, I've received all the resulting intel, and it's done nothing to change my mind. Their depictions of Callahan's state of mind only serve to support the suicide theory. It is my suggestion that we announce these findings to our respective communities first thing tomorrow night. Sounds reasonable, and I think that concludes this meeting. I'll let the Keeper of the Elysium do the honours. No time wasted, huh? Alright, does anyone have anything to add? Any questions to ask? Take your time. Silence. I look at everyone just sitting it out in perfect agreement. Congrats everyone, congrats us. We've achieved a perfect victory. No loose ends, no rocking the boat, no nothing. Makes you want to puke. How many of them contributed to this final report? How strongly does Kadir believe the shit running from his mouth? He's always been a Camarilla loyalist, a fanatic even, but... Miss Julia, any final statements? This is it. Now or never. If anyone can blow this pathetic charade wide open, it's me. But there's no coming back from this road, and it has a cost. I've spent all my life and unlife on social climbing, and the sunken cost fallacy is kicking in. Challenging them here might be the only way of ever making out of the pit I'm in. On the other hand, maybe it's time to head into the unknown, kill my ego, at least temporarily, shut up the voice of my elders screaming in my head, betray my somber instincts, make all these ghosts go away and figure out something new, no matter how scary it might be. Do I dare? Or maybe I don't. I feel like there's an incredible prize to be won just waiting right in front of me. If I just dare to take out this revolver with its single bullet I have hidden on me, and invite everyone for a crazy game of Russian roulette. But I also get this foreboding gangster movie feeling, like this is the scene where the future mobster could have gotten out, but he didn't. In the end, did Callahan think all the splendor of the golden era was worth this pathetic end? I think there are two selves battling for dominance inside of me. One of them has to die, the other gets to live. Honestly, it's all a flip of the coin. I reflect on all the kindred I've met, lessons I've learned, choices I've made over these past few nights to make a decision. And then, feeling like I'm simply following the way I conducted the investigation to its logical conclusion, I respond. Actually, I do. It's like the beast itself flashed in Kadir's eyes for a brief moment. No, you don't. But I do. Miss Savonsky. Don't make a scene. Believe me, every one of you will really, really regret it if they don't listen to what I have to say. Will we now? Oh, absolutely. I stand up and step right in front of Kadir. Don't get me wrong, Kadir's done a spectacular job of selling you a ready-made narrative to package and export to the outside world. Hail to the sheriff and all that. But was this little show really necessary? Did you all really need to hype each other up to believe this fairy tale? What are you getting at, little girl? Easy now, for now, my prince. Insult me all you want. It's only going to make it all the sweeter when this little girl kicks your ass. I'm getting at the fact there's a different, more reasonable theory that explains everything. Everything to a T. That's great for you, sweetheart, but I really need to stay. Do I really need to stay here and listen to it? The door's right there, but on the off chance you get implicated in something tonight, don't you want the chance to defend yourself? What are the chances of me being implicated in anything tonight? I'm pretty sure a lot of kindred in this room are asking themselves the same question right now. In each case, my answer is the same. You won't find out unless you stay where you are. She stays. Alright, where was I? Let's assume that the cause of Boss Callahan's death really was suicide. My man said, fuck everything. Open the window shutters, let the break of dawn take care of all his problems. Let's assume that he really meant to send a message using the portrait of Lord Castlereagh. Sounds dramatic, but sure, let's go with it. But it's commonly understood that Castlereagh was pushed into taking his own life as a result of conspiracies against him. Needless to say, his biggest fan wouldn't miss that detail. According to historians, the man's last words imply that some powerful people forced him with a choice, denunciation or death. Which for an ambitious politician is not a choice at all. If you're claiming that Callahan left us a hint, it's a troubling hint, don't you think? What are you... Enough! We're not dealing in conspiracy theories here. Of course you're not. I mean, a conspiracy theory backed by the elite is no longer called such. It's propaganda. Is there a point to this little show you're putting on, Miss Savonsky? Other than digging yourself deeper and deeper in a metaphorical hole? Oh, Mr. Arturo, you're still trying to tell me it's me who's in trouble and not you? That's adorable. Listen, you listen. He freezes in shock, definitely not used to resistance. I don't blame you for peddling propaganda. You're politicians, that's what you do. I'm just laughing at you for coming up with shitty, poorly conceived propaganda. So, is someone going to stop her, or... Miss Addison Payne, you're the architect behind the local Camarilla's current speeches and general political narrative. Be honest, does this shit show really meet your standards? We stare into each other's eyes, unblinking, slowly feeling each other out. Eventually, with barely audible snigger, he whispers to his servant. I'm always open to a better pitch. That's all I wanted to hear. All I'm asking for now is a little patience. That I can spare. Oh, for goodness sake, Addison, come on, man. You can't possibly... Silence. I said what I said. Now let her talk. Thank you. I'm starting to have fun with this. Or more like I'm feeling that weird rush reminding me of the first time I managed to ride a bike. The important thing is to keep up the momentum. Focus on pedaling hard, don't even think about falling. You thought you had it all figured out, didn't you? An improperly handled murder scene, a disposable investigator forced to blindly stumble around, hopelessly chasing loose ends. Only problem is tonight I realised I was using the wrong tools all along. Instead of a sleuth's magnifying glass, I only needed a journalist's pen. So I sat down tonight and wrote my first article in almost a year. 2 hours of ceaseless writing, creative juices flowing the entire time, and everything miraculously falling into place. And frankly, I think it's my masterpiece. I get carried away and jump on one of the benches. You want to hear the contents? I know you're all dying to hear the contents. Okay, let's hear the contents. Aileen Sturbridge, High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, violently splitting with her student after he discovered her plans for horrifying experiments with blood magic. Her target? Baron Callahan, said student, conveniently missing. We've got an exclusive source too. Agathon the Warlock's personal diary. Extra, extra, read all about it. She's trying to hide that she's nervous, but she's practically shaking. I should be the one shaking. I'm piecing together what little solid or relatively solid intel I have, gluing it together into something coherent with educated assumptions and pure conjecture. Plus, I'm fairly sure she recognizes me as a threat now, just what I was hoping for. Next up, is it true that Torque, the brave Anarch Baron, primed to be the next de facto leader of the sect in New York City, might have been manipulating his entire faction to secure that position? This appeasing candidate convinced his key allies that the revolution is not an option at the moment, appearing as a reasonable alternative to his bloodthirsty rivals. His ace in the hole was a strangely effective ability to establish diplomatic channels with the Camarilla, which he then used to gain a series of small concessions from the New York court. Could it be that Prince Panhard, having realised that her longtime collaborator, Baron Callahan, was just an undesirable asset, found a different, more 2020 candidate to be the leader of the Anarchs? Extra, extra, read all about it. This one's not shaking, she's just angry. And this one just seems confused. And what about the fact that Torque, Helen Panhard, Thomas Arturo, Carter Vanderval, and Eileen Sturber were all summoned to Callahan's office right before his death? Could it be that the so-called boss employed some final desperate measures to stop his downward spiral into irrelevance, at which point a rushed plan to bring on his demise was executed? Could it be that Kaiser, the legendary New York City info broker, striking deals left and right with both the Camarilla and the Anarchs, wiretapped Callahan's office to eavesdrop on these negotiations? Extra, extra, read all about it. You could cut the atmosphere in here with a knife, and it's only getting worse. For them at least, I feel better than I felt in years. And the fact nobody is protesting probably means I'm hitting the nails on the head. Could it be that for the entire 21st century, the conflict between the New York City Camarilla and Anarchs was a sham? What if the Second Inquisition's operations in the city were consulted with the leaders of the two sects? How deep does the rod of corruption go? And what about Sophie Langley's disappearance? Attempts on the young lives would be members of a coterie she attempted to set up alongside her ward last year. Could all of these things be connected? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Stay tuned, dear readers. Heavy silence befalls the room. When it becomes too overbearing, Kadir breaks in by hawking loudly. His poker face is indecipherable. And where, pray tell, can someone read all about it tomorrow? 10 different places. Among them, of course, a report received by Clan La Sombre elders in Chicago. Constantly mixing truth with lies. I do know some facts. I did write something. But all in all, it's a confidence grift, plain and simple. Have you sent it out already? No, and Father Leonard's not the channel I used to reach Chicago, in case you were wondering. I took every possible precaution, the way you taught me. I know this hurts him, but I can't show a single weakness right now. Oh, this is ridiculous. She's probably bluffing. No, she knows, Thomas. Eiling, how can you be certain? I just am. That diary probably just saved my ass. Thank you, Agathon, I guess. Even if I was bluffing, it's all about the optics. You nominate a special investigator, then the moment she presents her findings, you do what? Subjugate her? Get rid of her? How do you get out of this? I get it. You gave me the role, the title, because you were counting on me remaining the same useless nobody I was ever since I started working for the court. But funny how that works, isn't it? A week ago, nobody would give a shit about what I have to say. Now I'm a grave threat to this entire Illuminati New World Order arrangement you've got going on. I still maintain you can't possibly know and prove all the claims you've listed. There's just no way, I know. I checked. First off, stop bullshitting me. You don't know that for sure. Secondly, even if you're right, so what? I've got leverage now. Because of my journalistic past, you gave me a detective title that wasn't worth a rat ass and doing detective work. But ironically, it gave me the opportunity to do the best reporting I've ever done. It doesn't even matter if it contains more facts than your official narrative. And you know why? Because the story I offer makes infinitely more sense morally, emotionally, metaphorically, metaphysically, however you name it. It's a far hotter commodity than the low-rent bullshit you peddle. People nowadays buy into barely coherent crap like 5G and QAnon. Once they get a hold of my perfectly logical story and see you don't really have anything to counter it, you'll be fucked. Oh, the very fact none of you have denied any of my allegations yet speaks volumes. The princes are absolutely furious that she's not in charge, visibly scrambling to figure out some counter-offensive. Why would anyone listen to you? You made that story of yours sound completely unrespectable, like tabloid garbage. Tabloid would be fine, just means it would reach more folks. What? What do you want? Now we're talking. A premiership position for Clan La Sombra and a number of privileges befitting the title. We can negotiate the details, but a nice apartment in downtown Manhattan is a must. Dreaming big, are we? What could you even bring to the fold as a premiership? I turn away from her to speak to the manager. Mr. Payne? Yes? As you can see, we've all found ourselves in quite a mess here. Indeed, to say the least. If I find us a way out, will you form a professional relationship with me and back the decision to make me a premiership? The figure in the wheelchair lets out a sarcastic laugh, sounding like the final wheeze of a dying man. You really are swinging for the fences, aren't you, child? I'm not suicidal, most of the time at least. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have my sights set sky high. I understand. But how do you propose we solve this little predicament? Easy. We'll give the masses an even better story than one I just suggested, one that benefits nearly all the parties in this room. Alright then, thanks to your moxie, you've secured yourself my tentative support, child. Let's hear it. Thank you very much. Okay then. During my investigation, I recovered some interesting intel about a certain individual. Praise be to Kaiser's abandoned limousine. Said individual would definitely prefer his behind-the-scenes dealings to remain unknown. For the last 20 years, he's been an on-again, off-again mediator between the different parties in this city. He prides himself on his diplomatic skills. Interestingly enough, one of his main motivations was selling intel across both the Camarilla and Anarchs to any party that might be interested. Usually that meant Kaiser. With a reasonable degree of certainty, he could be held responsible for a few recent failed Camarilla options that weakened Helen Panhart's position. He dreams of being a prince, you see. You can already see him awkwardly shifting his weight. Recently, he obtained control over an IT company called Double Spiral, which he used to influence New York City in a way that furthers his agenda and weakens his political enemies. He also operates the most powerful law firm in the city. He uses both of these tools so that he can manipulate the mortals to slowly tie a noose around Anarch leaders and court members who he wants gone. I'm talking, of course, about Carter Vanderen. In a split second, all eyes on the room are set on him. People, whatever she throws at me, I'm sure I can explain. I throw a file I recovered from Kaiser's limo at the bench. Are you sure? Because there's a hell of a lot to explain. Addison's servant picks up the file so that his master can browse through it. If that's not enough, I'm sure Double Spiral will happily deliver us more. So all the things you said to the other night were a steaming pile of bullshit, Carter. Addison, we're friends. There's a good explanation for every single thing that's listed there. I swear on my father's grave. Even if there is, I doubt you can justify allowing a girl who's little more than a fledgling rip your credibility to shreds in a matter of seconds. You're proving yourself as something infinitely worse than traitor, Carter. You're a weak traitor. Thomas, Helene, don't you even dare speak to me, you bastard. That's the last element of my strategy. I hope they would throw any curveballs my way, because from now on it's all pure improvised improv. Just 2 minutes ago I was the #1 enemy of everyone in this room. Now I'm their unexpected ally, revealing a common foe that some people in this room have wanted to nail since forever. What I'm saying is we've got ourselves a perfect scapegoat to pin everything on. Shady dealings between both sects, all the real conspiracies he was involved in, and possibly perfect looks in history. The Schadenfreude accomplishing his fall will be enough to keep some kindred in this city happy for years. He shoots me a demented look, and I assume it's typically reserved for a future strangling victim. You can't do this to me. Why is that? You're incompetent. Wow. That's the best you can do? Seriously? Kadir? Yes, my prince. Seize him. No, no, I beg of you, just... No! You can come with me without struggle or in torpor. As usual, it's 3 strikes with me and then you're gone. No, 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 no! He talks a lot, but puts up minimal resistance. Kadir drags him out of the room, and that's the last I ever see of him. For a good minute, everyone just stands there, confused. Then Addison begins to clap. Bravo, Miss Slavonsky. I haven't seen such an adventurous power play in years. Maybe your generation's not all lost after all. Does that mean I can count on your support? Of course, as far as I'm concerned, you're the kind of ruthless primogen the city needs. Especially now, when one seat will probably be made vacant. So what do you say, my prince? Panhard recoils a little when she hears me refer to her in such an official manner. My relationship with Addison is a decades-long conflict, and by now I know which hills I'm willing to die on. This is not one of them. Rejoice, girl. You're going to get what you want, as well as deserve. We do have one important condition, though. Of course you do. Mr. Payne, as I'm sure you'll agree, being Primogen's an important representative position. The man is nothing but a display of impeccable respect for the Masquerade and the traditions. Of course. It's my concern that it wouldn't be proper for us to be represented by someone who openly violated the rules of kindred society. But of course, that wouldn't do at all. They'd have to openly renounce their old ways at the very least. Indeed. I think that is the case of Miss Savonsky, who has lived with a mortal under a single roof for a long time. The best course of action would be to renounce her and give her up to our sheriff. The kind of gesture would prove the new Primogen's dedication to the court, beyond any reasonable doubt. Yes, I definitely agree. Her ambitions and pride are admirable, but it would be prudent of us to demand a display of humanity as well. Sadistic fucks. My thoughts exactly. Well then, your answer, miss? What's so funny, Miss Savonsky? I see it in your eyes, Arturo, you naive fool. You think you're so goddamn clever. You think I would have gotten this far if I didn't think it all through? There's only one response. I agree. Do what you must. He's speechless. He thought he had me pinned, and I simply responded with a checkmate. Guess that solves our problem then. Let's head out for now. It's been an exhausting evening and dawn is near. Yes, let's do just that. He walks Payne out, looking unstrung and defeated. Soon after, Kadir was ordered to take care of Dakota. He asked me if I wanted to know what he'd done to her. My reply was honest. I'm not really interested, no. He said that I got myself into a terrible game, the rules of which defy comprehension. I replied that if I'm willing and climbing upwards, I must be doing something right. Still, we don't talk too much these days beyond professional interactions. I have a much bigger world to think about now, one that fills me with happiness. Come to think of it, my current state reminds me of a few halcyon days right after my embrace. It might not last, but at this point I have to ask myself, what does? It's always about the next bigger rush. I'm writing speeches and official communications for the New York City Camarilla these days, helping out Payne from time to time too. Funny, I've never felt more accomplished, more fulfilled as a journalist than I am right now. Karen is visiting in a few days to congratulate me on behalf of the entire Chicago-based clan. Apparently, I've not only met her expectations, but exceeded them. She keeps bragging to everyone about how great her eye was in picking me. It's only these shadows that keep getting to me. I notice them everywhere these nights, and there are more and more of them surrounding me as time goes on. But it doesn't matter. I like to think they are being cast because my future looks so bright. So that was the good ending, by the way. We climbed the social ladder, destroyed everyone in our path, and ultimately broke up with and murdered our ex-girlfriend. And that was the good ending! That's the kind of game that Vampire the Masquerade is. Very interesting how the end of this didn't at all tie into the ending of Coteries of New York. I mean, except for the fact that Julia revealed that the Anarchs and the Camilla were in fact all one side. hey, the cast and crew Critical Role got a special thanks. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd done like a promotional Vampire the Masquerade episode. So that was Vampire the Masquerade, Shadows of New York. Hope you all enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!